So hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be sharing a secret with you, and that is that I might have a new favorite tier 9 premium tank inside the game. This is the UDES 3.3, a vehicle which came out a month ago now, and I've just been absolutely loving this tank in pretty much every single way, and today I'm going to be letting you know exactly why this tank has just been oh so special for me, and why it's definitely one of my go-to tanks now for making credits, making bonds, and also for not just that, but having fun inside World of Tanks. If any of you have watched my stream, and even if you haven't, I might have told you previously that my favorite tier is tier 9. It's like this wonderful mix match of still being top tier, still having great capabilities, but also still having just way more varied matchmaking than tier 10. I hate tier 10, not because it's the highest tier inside World of Tanks, but it's so boring to just sit there and play tier 10, tier 10, tier 10 against tier 10, tier 10, and tier 10. The lack of variety kills me. I don't feel as if my thought process really matters. It's more about kind of like the map that I play. When there is a whole variety of different vehicles inside the game, I feel like then I can look for openings more, or I can look for those key pieces on the battlefield, and when the tiers are different, then the different pieces matter more. And so I love tier 9 because it gets more varied. You get some tier 7 matches, some tier 8, some tier 9s, hardly any only tier 9 matchmaking, which would be just as boring as tier 10 only matchmaking, and then even some tier 10 tanks. Whereas tier 8 is kind of ruined for the same reason that there's just so much tier 8 only matchmaking that tier 9 just feels fun. And I think it proves, at least if any of you go and try tier 9 yourself and you enjoy it for that reason, why +2 -2 is just so darn good for the game, and why there's just too many tier 8s and tier 10s kind of ruining it from that experience. Which is probably one of the reasons why Wargaming put in grand battles where it's 30 versus 30, only at tier 8 and only at tier 10. You ever wondered why? It's because they've got a big tier 8, tier 10 problem, and they need to try and get those tanks out of the matchmaker, so make them all play against each other, right? Luckily, you can go and turn that off in the settings if you don't want to play, so that's good for everyone, right? People who enjoy, get the tier 8s and tier 10s out the matchmaker. People who don't enjoy, well, you can just turn it off, right? So that's why I love tier 9 tanks. And I also love tier 9 autoloaders. Tier 9 autoloaders, they just feel so fabulous. Unlike the Centurion Action 10's driving as he slips down the slope there and nearly ends up sideways. Not that it really matters in World of Tanks in 2024, right? Autoloaders just feel wonderful. And at tier 9, you've kind of got these big guns with great pen. You don't have to... You're just such a threat on the battlefield. And then a tank like this, the UDES 3.3, wraps those two key features up into a delicious Swedish package, where you've also got a 3-round autoloader that hits for 360 each shot. So that's 1,080 damage in 6 seconds. Not the best intraclip reload. And a lot of you are probably going, oh, well, my Borask does 720 in 2 seconds at tier 8, Monsieur QuickyBabs. Yes, but does your Borask actually have reasonably usable turret armor? And does it sometimes be able to ricochet off the side or even off the upper hull? The UDES can. And I'm not saying the armor on this tank is great. Oh man, he's 61 meters away from me and he can't see me. I'm not saying the armor is great. It's not nearly as good as the Char, which is probably my favorite non-premium tank at tier 9. But at least it's something. And you're not getting overmatched. You're not getting penned by HE shells so much. And obviously, as I've shown you, this thing gets delicious camo. My camo right now, I wouldn't be surprised, it's about 45 or even 50% when I'm sitting stationary. And when you do reach this magical 50% inside World of Tanks, then that means that when you're sitting in a bush, unless they're using a vision system, they are going to have to proxy spot you. And so that's why that tier 10 medium tank on the enemy team, who has 410 meters base view range, and unless they're trolling and they don't have any kind of crew skills, they don't have coated optics or vents or anything, then that tank should have spotted me, right? But it just doesn't, because this tank is so sneaky. So if you get yourself into a cheeky situation like this, you can just change games into your team's favor. I love Corellia Assault. This bush is one of my faves, and it gives me big, consistent results. I mean, when I say consistent, still, maybe like 1 in 4 times and 1 in 3 times I get caught going into this cheeky position, but less than 1 in 3, more like 1 in 4, I'd say. But if I can have such a huge impact in 3 out of 4 of my battles, then that's how I can get to my like goal in tier 9 autoloading tanks of winning 2/3 of my games without playing in a platoon. I win 66% of my games in my UDES 3-3 solo, and it's by using sneaky positions like this on some of the maps that I'm able to achieve that. And even with a tremendous impact here of nearly 7k, make that 7k now combined, we are still down on hit points, and we've only just broken even on tanks there. Each team now having 8 left out of the 15 that started this battle off, and it shows you that sometimes it's not just about spotting, you've also got to be able to do the damage yourself. But by using the bushes and pulling back behind them, we could assassinate the Char that got into such a strong position, as well as also dumping a full mag on a WT Panzer IV. So all of these aspects of this tank, you think, oh, that's enough, right? No wonder why Uncle Scrubby Bab seems to love this vehicle. We've also got not the best gold pen, I guess, at 284. The standard pen's nice at 252. That's very decent for a tier 9 medium. But all of this gets improved by the fact that this tank also has 13 degrees of gun depression. It has 7 natural and 6 through using the hydropneumatic suspension that this vehicle has. Meaning that you've got 13 degrees over the front. You can tilt your tank down and also get your gun aiming down as well. And 13 is just absolutely savage for a ridgeline. And the vision system exhaust build on this tank with the bond vents, which I would thoroughly recommend on this vehicle if you can manage to afford to get them, just caps off an incredibly strong build. Now, if you can't get the bond vents, it might not be worth using regular vents in a build like this, and instead you could go for something like coated optics. I aimed for just long enough there to get the WT Panzer IV, and remember, I've got 3 seconds, he's got a 4-second intra-clip reload, and so we're calm under pressure. We get the shot on the WT and follow up with 2 rounds to get rid of another Char Future 4 on the enemy team, and I was just licking my lips in anticipation. We're already sitting at like 9,000 combined in this game, and there's like a good 4,000 hit points left on the enemy team. So I'm reloading gold rounds now to be able to give me the edge against the side of these heavy tanks, and I'm just hoping, oh yeah, 247 right in there. Also 1 against the mouse, and let's follow it up with another, oh. No, apparently I'm not kidding you, Swedish commander. I think that's Joachim from the band Sabaton, right? Who's doing the fabulous voice acting here. But now nearly up to 10k combined and 5 kills. This has been a tremendous effort. The damage alone, this would be a good game for this tank with the damage alone. That's 3 mark worthy damage. And then we've got 150% of 3 mark worthy with the assistance that we got. And oh yeah, come on. We're rolling the dice here. It's orange, so it's like a 50-50. I should aim at the top of his turret though. Oh, come on, World of Tanks, don't do me like this. Why even after playing this game for so long and so many years do I still get bad RNG? It's almost as if RNG, it doesn't matter. If the number says no, then the number says no. If the computer says no to you, there's just not much that you can do about it. And I'm quite surprised here because I thought, oh man, this is going to be an absolute tremendous feast at the end of the battle. And oh, the feast continues. Easy game, easy life. What? How did that one pretty much go outside the reticle? And I've only got 1 shell left. Do I reload? Do I not reload? I decide that I've got enough time. But it looks like it's a mistake because the Jagdpanzer 100 on my team shuts down the Ho-Re 3. And while we are over 10,500 combined that we saw inside this battle, unfortunately for Uncle Scrubby Baby, it's not going to be quite enough to be able to get the last delicious shot into the WT Panzer IV. So all in all, just an absolute banger of a game for an absolute banger of a tank. This UDES 3-3, I love pretty much all of the aspects of it. It's just got everything that I need to dominate the open bushy maps. And really, the only thing that this tank is lacking would be just that close quarters combat capacity. I think if there's any issues that I have with this tank, it's got to be those close quarters combat maps. But as long as you can kind of still just do enough to make it feel as if you're not just wasting your time on those maps, this tank definitely pays off outside of the city environment. So I enjoyed it so much last time, let's do it again. This time on, once again, a lovely bushy map we're going to be playing on Live Oaks. Live Oaks is just perfect for this vehicle and perfect for the same build that I was going to be using on Corellia. We're going to use the exhaust to be able to pump up our camo, that vision system to be able to just obliterate all of those lovely bushes that we have on this map. But it's not just about the vision, this map. It's also that I'm playing in a super flexible tank that has that 13 degrees of gun depression to be able to work a ridgeline like no one else can. So I guess I should also talk about all of the other aspects about this vehicle that I have really fallen in love with, and that is this gun. This gun, it feels absolutely lovely. It has really good turret traverse dispersion, so really no need to use vert stabs on this tank. Its moving dispersion is a little bit weak, so you've got to watch out for that. However, this thing's accuracy, even though I couldn't really catch the Borsig there, is truly one of its special aspects. The penultimate, or shall I say the ultimate field mod on this tank actually makes it so that you lose 3 seconds reload. Well, not 3 seconds reload, but 3% reload. But you gain 5% aiming circle size. It's totally worth doing. It does increase your reload by about a second or so. But to remember, it's that intra-clip reload that doesn't change. It doesn't change your intra-clip reload, just the regular reload of this tank. Which consequently means that if you improve the accuracy and you're only changing the magazine reload time, but you're not actually changing that burst potential, you get to be more accurate while you're bursting out. And that is what matters inside World of Tanks for an autoloader. Pretty much all of the autoloaders, I'm more than happy to lose some reload time to be able to gain aspects such as aim time, or gain aspects such as the accuracy, which is what I've done on the UDES 3.3. And then when you combine that with like a vision build, didn't quite work out there though. Maybe I'm not sure if that was the T832 or the Centurion that caught me. We could just be so wonderful and sneaky on that ridgeline. For my second build on this tank, I think I'm even using like an aiming device, as far as I can remember. Oh no, I'm using an experimental turbo, and probably an aiming device as well on this tank. Because again, you just really don't need the vert stabs. But, you know, if you want to use the vert stabs and don't care about the accuracy on this tank, then that's up to you. You've got more than enough time to be able to aim between your shells, even without. And you're seeing right now that even without using any kind of gun handling enhancement, even the experimental turbo, we really don't need to worry. Because we're being able to be fully aimed in between our reloads. So unless you want to be able to move backwards and forwards and just keep wiggling, which is, it's useful. There's no doubt it's useful. Then you really don't need to improve the gun handling on this tank. And I think that has to be one of my favorite aspects of tanks. When I can invest in improving the aspects that I actually want to, rather than I feel like I have to on a tank. Vert stabs. Something that Uncle QuickyBaby really doesn't want to use unless it's mandatory. And this vehicle, yeah, its moving dispersion is bad, but its bloom after firing is good at 3. And its turret traverse dispersion at 0.06 means that, I'm not going to touch it with a barge pole, really. I'd rather invest into the other aspects that make this tank strong. I guess if there's only one downside to this tank, it's probably the speed of this vehicle. And you definitely want to invest into it. If you want to get the experimental turbo, that's down to you. If you want to get a Bond turbo on this tank, that is even better. And the Bond turbo will help its relatively poor top speed of 55 kilometers an hour. I can't believe I'm calling 55 bad top speed. But it's also the power to weight ratio, which kind of sucks. At 18 on this tank, it's not like a Char Future 4. My Char Future 4, which is definitely one of the... if I could only keep 5 tanks in the game, the Char Future 4 would definitely be one of them. Although, when I think about it now, this tank is giving pretty good arguments as to why maybe I'd want to keep this one and not the Char Future 4. Only because of the fact that it's a premium, right? If I wasn't making the extra credits and I wasn't making the extra bonds, I'd probably still rather keep the Char Future 4. But that's just should be a testament to how much I like this tank. If I'm even considering that I wouldn't pick a Char Future 4 and I'd just pick this, one of the only 5 vehicles that I could take, Seems like that's what Wargaming's plan is. They're kind of taking vehicles that people enjoy, that are reward tanks, and just slapping like a premium tag on. Talk about premium tag. That definitely wasn't premium aiming there at the G-Saw. I got so used to him being AFK that it looks like I woke the bot up and the bot actually evaded me. So, I don't know. It's always very suspicious when players come back as soon as they take hits. It's almost certainly that that person's using a bot program. To be fair, they are called, what are they called? Was it Fight for Toilet? You know what? Fight for Toilet. It's valid. You know, sometimes you gotta go, right? And if you need to contest that toilet location, then all the power to you. Maybe he was contesting the toilet, and that's why they were AFK until I started shooting them inside this game of World of Tanks. So this is the part of the battle where the vision system is really just going to pay off significantly. They're going to be able to see all of the people in those bushes there if they manage to make some mistakes, and either they fire or they just move or they've got bad camera rating. That means that we can get 300, 600, 1,000, over 1,000 spotting against the Char Future 4 there. And this is where it really adds up, and one of the keys to the fact that I was able to 3-mark this tank. It did take me a little while in the end. In my first, I think after about 50 games of playing this tank, I maybe started to get a bit nonchalant with the way that I played it, and a little bit frustrated too much by some of the city maps. Eventually, I realized that when you're playing on those city maps, if you want to 3-mark this tank, you've just got to try and like rock up and just have your mediocre games like 2,000-3,000 and not try and push so aggressively. And then when you get on these bushy maps, then you can really start to profit. And that was how I managed to swing the 3-mark in the UDES. What's this TA-32 doing? Beautiful shot there. Cheeky over the ridge line. Managed to get an unwelcome shot into the side of my tank. And that means that now I can't really go around. I wanted to flank around and go and fight for the toilet. I was going to challenge him for his golden throne. But unfortunately for me, the TA-32 was stopping me. But luckily, the TA-32 gets shut down. And so that means that Fight for the Toilet actually nails me in the side after me missing him earlier on in the battle. And suddenly, I don't feel so happy. You know, I missed that G-Saw. And now the G-Saw not only getting a shot into me, but also possibly keeping me lit up for their team. And making me lose even more hit points that way. But once again, an absolute stonking game for this tank. We're up to 8,000 combined so far, and there is still some left on the table to see if we can grab. And hopefully what this game shows you as well, it's not just about sitting still in a bush. You can work your ridge lines in this vehicle. I love this tank. I really do. It's an absolute fabulous vehicle, and it's going to go into other Tier 9 auto-loading premium tanks, like the TL7, and also... gosh darn it. The Pantera managed to shut me down, but a little bit more spotting, and that means that we're over 9,200 combined here. So it's also going to go into the realms of the Char Future 4, but that's not a premium. More like the TL7 and the Object 752 for vehicles which I would just keep in my rota of, if I'm a little bit bored in World of Tanks, go play those vehicles, make some credits, make some bonds. Don't have anything to do in World of Tanks, which doesn't feel like that's a very regular occurrence, considering Wargaming relentlessly get us to participate in events, then bring out those Tier 9 premiums. And not only do they give me economy, they're also giving me some of the better win ratios on the account. And so that means that when I play a little bit loose in my lower tier tanks, or I play loose in my top tiers, then they're kind of like the ballast that at least keeps my statistics fairly regular. And the results speak for themselves. A tank like this doesn't even need to invest into things like vert stabs, but still managed to hit 20 out of 21 shots on that game on Corellia, even though we were engaging at long range, and 17 out of 20 penned, apart from, I guess, those gold rounds that ricocheted off the mouse, netting us that 10,500 combined game. And when you make 10,500 combined, and you don't exactly spam gold the entire battle, yeah, I'm never gonna get sick of seeing 231,000 credits profit. So, the UDES 3.3. Even though it hasn't been out for very long, it is already one of the most played medium tanks at tier 9, and it's also producing the 3rd best win ratio. But we also need to take into account that some of the sweaty players are playing it. But when we omit that and we balance out with win ratio difference, the UDES 3-3 is still getting one of the more respectable win ratio differences of any of the tier 9 meds. But for all of you out there who missed this and or just don't want to spend money on buying another premium tank in World of Tanks, you'll be happy to see that the Char Future 4 is getting a better win ratio difference, and that one is available cheaply for tokens from the Battle Pass. And so for all of you free-to-play players, while I really like the UDES 3-3 because of the bonds, the credits, don't worry, go get yourself a Char, you'll get yourself a free large repair kit on that tank, and trust me, you will have an absolute blast, which is why it's my most recommended vehicle out of all of them from the Battle Pass. So all in all, I feel like the UDES 3-3 is a win-win for everyone. It's clearly not an outrageously overpowered tank. The Char Future 4 is just as good, if not better. I think the Char Future 4 probably could use a little bit of a nerf inside the game. It looks like Wargaming made a sizable amount of money from selling them if they're so popular, and I haven't really seen anybody complaining, at least yet, of these vehicles trashing all the games of World of Tanks. Anyway, that's it for today, ladies and gents, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know what is your favorite tier 9 premium tank in the comments down below. And if you're watching this video as it's released on Sunday, I'm going live for the last day of TwitchCon 24. And to celebrate, Wargaming have got some really awesome Twitch drops that all of you can come along and claim right now. Get yourself 15 premium consumables. That's 150,000 credits if you sell all of them. 5 times experience missions guaranteed after watching, and then one of the following mystery drops, including possibly for the very lucky of you, either the Progetto 46 or the CS52 lease. So come along right now, enjoy the show, and as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.